Hey there, hope you're doing well. Today, the word that's in my heart to share about is something I'm going through and something I have been through in the past as well. And it's a recurring feeling, a recurring sort of situation that I am in. And I do not think I'm the only one who goes through this, honestly. More than not, whatever you think you are going through alone, somebody else has been through. Not just one person, but several people have overcome it, and several are still in the midst of it, and many are going to enter it over time. So, if I can share how I am dealing with it and how I have dealt with it in the past, and that sharing helps somebody else, then I will. And at the same time, even as I share it, one, I am acknowledging and recognizing that I'm going through something. And when I feel that the negative effects of that feeling overwhelming me, that acknowledgement and awareness is going to help me quickly rein those feelings in and find ways on how to deal with them, because I believe that very many of us are going through very many things that are influencing our decisions, how we feel, how we respond to different things, but we don't know that those things that we are going through are influencing our decisions. But once we have candid conversations, once we hear somebody else talk about those different things, and a light bulb sort of goes off in our heads and somebody speaks life into what exactly you are going through. Have you ever been there and somebody says something that literally defines what you are going through but do not know how to put it into words? So what I want to talk about today is how to deal with a lack of motivation, a lack of drive, a lack of excitement, even while you are doing something that you have prayed for, something that you love, something that you have been longing and yearning for a very long time. And once you're actually in that zone and in that process, in that moment, you deal with fluctuating feelings of no motivation, no excitement, no drive, no energy, disinterest, just no incentive to actually do what needs to be done. And you find yourself literally pushing yourself, aggressively pushing yourself, as though it's not what you wanted in the first place. So I have gone through this, and I am going through this. And as I go through this, I've had to literally go down memory lane and channel the various thoughts, aspirations, prayers, wishes, and dreams that I had in the past, and what literally brought me to this very moment. I've had to relive the different sacrifices, the different prayers, the different efforts, the different actions that directed me to this very moment, because where you are now is a result of your past, is a result of the sum of different things, different people, different conversations, different dreams and wishes that your past self had. So while presently I have gone through a great forgetting of where I don't recall, I don't remember, I no longer seem to believe in the dream, I only have to just snap right back into that past me that helped to bring me to this moment, to remind myself of why I am here and what needs to get done. And while it's okay for plans to change, while it's okay for direction to shift and for the ball to go off course, it's only okay if there's a newer and clearer path. But it's not okay for you to drop the ball in what you're doing when there's no clear path of what you're going to replace that ball with or replace that path with. So you have to really go back in time. Don't just accept that, okay, because I'm not motivated, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Because I have no excitement, maybe I made the wrong choice. Because I have no drive, I have no zeal, I have no energy to do this thing, maybe I prayed for the wrong thing, maybe I'm in the wrong place. So it's really up to you to go back in time and see why you are actually in this very place, in this very position. And I have had to do that a number of times. Then something else that I've had to do is have diverse interests. When this one thing brings no excitement, brings you no rush, no vigor for you to embark on it, there should be other things that you have probably already been building upon, that you're probably already discovered are of great interest to you, that you can do and that can uplift you, so that when you eventually come back to this thing, those different things have sort of replenished any lost energy, any loss of excitement, any loss of drive in your life. So it's important for you to have those different things. Presently, I find myself, if I'm not very motivated, I find myself deciding, oh, let me go skating and just not really think about what I'm going through. Oh, let me record a video. about what's on my mind. Let me try to channel this energy into something productive. Let me speak to the camera. Let me speak and put my thoughts to words and see maybe if talking about it is going to give me more clarity. So you find that you can use the lack of motivation towards something to be directed towards a creative outlet. Now, what I'm going through presently has inspired this very conversation. So in a way, I am documenting. So in a way, my lack of motivation has inspired a conversation. So this could be a phone call to a friend. It could be a blog post. I could literally write a project out of this. I could literally write a project about how to inspire young people who are not motivated to find renewed motivation in what they do. So this negative feeling can actually inspire something positive out of it, if at all you are interested. So if you have no interest, if you have no hobbies that you like, maybe this very moment of lack of motivation should inspire you to go on a journey of self-discovery or journey of inquiry and find out what things can I be involved in. Can I get a hobby? Should I buy a new book that may inspire me? Should I get a plant? Should I get a plant? What can I do that can help just sort of snap me out of this feeling? And by snap, I don't mean instantly. It takes time. It takes literally negotiating with yourself. It takes talking to yourself and ensuring that you slowly nudge yourself out of that negative mind space. Another thing that you can do to help sort of deal with a lack of motivation, even when you're doing what you love, is talking to friends, talking to family, and not just anyone. Actually, it maybe even me saying family and friends may give you a wrong picture. Talking to someone, whoever it could be, who you think you can be honest with, who you think you can have a really open, a really heart-to-heart conversation and say what you mean and say what you feel. And even though you have never spoken to that person, this could be the trigger to have a heart-to-heart conversation with them. I remember one time I was in first year and I had left home and I was very far from home, and it was my first time to be very far from home why am I even saying it was my first time? I think it was my first time to be in a different region because of, secondary I was in boarding school, so I know what it means to be away from home. But being so far away from home was new to me, and I was in a completely different region with no family in the region so I knew that I couldn't just wake up and go home. I couldn't just call someone and they would come to me in an hour. It would take hours to get to me. So at some point I don't even think that's the reason. There was a bit of a detour, or combined with that, I was still going through a bit of a period of accepting my current situation, and it was in first year, and I was sad. I wasn't feeling nice, and I remember I happened to have a phone call with my dad, like a usual conversation of, oh, hi daddy, what's going on, just chatting, how are you doing? Of course the obvious answer is, yeah, I'm fine. Are you broke? No. Are you broke? Yes. If your parent asks you, are you broke, just say yes. Why would you say the truth? The truth is irrelevant. No, I'm broke. Okay, let me send you some money. Just the usual brief conversation. And then I'm like, but why am I lying? Just tell him. And I'm like, I'm sad. I'm depressed. And he was like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, I'm depressed. Feeling well. And he's like, don't you have friends? I'm like, yeah, I have friends, but I'm still depressed. I'm sad. Okay, I didn't say it like that. But basically, he asked me, don't you have friends? Don't you have people who can, uplift your spirits? I'm like, yeah, I do, but I still feel sad. I still feel depressed. And he's like, okay, you want to come home? And I'm like, yes, I want to come home. And so, okay, come home. And he sent me money, and I eventually went home. But that wasn't the plan. I did not mean to tell him I was sad and depressed. It was an impulsive decision to just be honest. Are you lying? Why are you feeling this way? And you have people who love you and you're not being honest with them. So you can speak to anyone. You can, even someone who you may think may not handle the conversation, or you've never had such a candid conversation with, you can tell that you can trust someone enough to have that kind of conversation with them. So talk to someone and tell them about how you feel about your lack of motivation, about how you have no energy, about all the different negative feelings that are consuming you. And you'd be surprised the things that they would say. At least you know those people who you may have never been honest with, but if you told them what you are going through, most likely they're going to be very supportive, they're going to be very helpful, they're going to offer you comfort, but also the much needed focus on what's important. Like, they're also can cuddle you and help soothe your feelings, but also bring you back to the program, bring you back to the drawing board. So talk to family or friends who you feel meet those attributes, and it could even be just it could be a neighbor, it could be a colleague who you know is in the same boat, it could be an acquaintance who you feel has the skills to help you. But at the same time, lean on your virtual mentors. I have a lot of virtual mentors, people who do not know me, may probably never meet me, but I sort of resonate with some of the things that they say. I follow the different blogs that they write, the different speeches they make, and I can even channel what they would say to me if I shared something with them. So if you have no one to talk to, you probably have someone who you virtually look up to, who virtually you follow what they do, you like how they do things, and you can conjure a conversation with them and have a heart to heart. But above all, you can talk to yourself. Above all, you can actually have an open conversation with yourself. Literally speak to the air, speak to the room and say, I am going through this. What should I do? If I were not me, if I was speaking to the mirror and I speak and that I also respond to myself, what would I say? Most likely you give yourself the best advice. We really take this for granted, but we give the best advice to ourselves if only we are willing to be honest. And guess what? You have all the context, you have all the awareness, you have all the behind the scenes. You know a lot more about yourself than any other person would, family, friend, virtual mentor or not. So if you can talk to yourself with clarity, with honesty, with truth, with fervor, most likely you can actually slowly nudge yourself out of those situations. But above all, if you are someone who believes in God, someone who believes in a higher being, there's always a peace and comfort that comes with literally placing all your burdens onto a higher being that you trust can deal with any single problem. So always turn back to God, dive into prayer, dive into meditation, dive into immersing yourself in the Word of God. And usually you can find somebody in the Bible, you can find a verse, a word, a message that literally touches your heart. So that is how I am dealing with a lack of motivation. But at the same time, there are some other things that you can do, because, like, let's say for example, you hate your desk, you hate your room, you hate your surroundings, your present surroundings make you feel even worse. You can change your surroundings. You can maybe invest in a better chair, invest in better surroundings, plan to leave your monotonous, boring, predictable surroundings and go somewhere that is more exciting, that kind of gives you a bigger challenge, that sort of helps you to have those creative juices flowing. So you can invest in those practical steps as well. Maybe get yourself a whiteboard where you can write your plans, where you can actually see what's bothering you, where you can write what's on your mind, whether it's a to-do list, whether it is things bothering me that I need to work on. Write them down on a whiteboard, or even just get what, in fact, maybe even spending money on things at times can even be more depressing. If, let's say, you order something and what you order is not what you receive, those things can be very disheartening. So maybe invest in just writing things and writing notes to yourself, writing notes to yourself and reading what's on your mind, journaling what's on your mind, and reading back and literally seeing what is flowing out of your mind. Have you ever tried to just get a blank book, get a blank page and just write? Don't think, just write whatever comes to your mind as it comes. It could be, Mariam, what's going on? Sky is blue, sunny. Then write, I'm not feeling well. I feel sad. I feel depressed. I'm hungry. I should make chicken curry, but I'm actually quite sad. I have no energy. And read back and see what is flowing out of you. You would have a deeper understanding of what your present mindset is. But above all, you need to understand that it happens. It is normal. You are not crazy. You are not alone. These things happen. And if you can learn now how to deal with first lack of motivation as it comes, you're going to be better prepared to deal with it in the future. So I am struggling with that right now. I am writing my dissertation. I have various assignments, and I just have no motivation. But that's, it's funny how there's a dichotomy of I have motivation to do other things, but not what I'm supposed to do right now. It's funny. If I give myself another task, I do it. But the thing that I have to do right now is what I don't have motivation for. So it's almost like I have to trick my brain into doing what I have to do. And I believe that very many of us go through this, but we just think that maybe it's something wrong with me. Like, because I've found myself asking myself, what is wrong with you? What's the problem? What's wrong with you? I'm asking myself. I found myself having to ask myself that. And then I have to answer myself, nothing is wrong with you, but you need to deal with this problem. You need to deal with this right now. So I am giving myself the grace, but timed. I don't have indefinite grace to give myself. So I have to literally put steps to try and deal with that. So I hope this helps you, but this is what was on my mind, and hope it can help you if you are also dealing with that. It happens to all of us, and you should have bite-sized pieces. You have small but cumulative steps that are going to help you to slowly get back into what you have to do. But also, but finally, the final word is, what you do when you don't have the motivation is what counts. Usually motivation is finite. It ends. Motivation is for a short period of time, but it is what you do when you have no motivation that counts. And sadly, most of the time you probably will not have the motivation, but you still have to remind yourself of your why.